So, are we playing DJ and playing request now, Lance? Is that it? So.
If I can. If I have time to execute the strategy, I will do it.
Dukes of Hazzard, requested by Fred Shanks. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. I tell you what, Paul, I have a twin brother, and growing up in South Jackson, we had a wood grain station wagon, and we never opened the doors. We always went through the windows. We thought we were the Duke boys.
But Fred, the reality now is that the Duke boys would probably have to have a handicap-approved ramp to get into the...
That and sensitivity training.
They wouldn't be hauling moonshine.
No. They'd be doing Pepsid and taking their pills before going to bed. Well, let's see. I think one of them's 72.
Yeah.
The other one, I'm not sure how old he is, but...
John Schneider lives in Louisiana now. He's got kind of a deal you can go to and shop and everything. So I'll be making a pilgrimage before too long over there.
Which one's playing the music? Is it John? In a band?
John. I think actually both of them did over the years, but John continues to. Yeah.
God, part of our young life there, and was it Daisy Dukes?
Oh, yeah. Icon.
Catherine Bach, right? Isn't that her name?
Catherine Bach, yeah. Well, I didn't think we would be talking about Dukes of Hazzard, but that's fine. How are you doing, sir, and how's the summer treating you?
Well, as I was driving up here on I-55, this will explain the summer. Coming the opposite way on a bicycle, a guy has a small window unit on his handlebars, so that kind of sums up the summer. But I passed a guy that had a window unit hanging off his handlebars of his bicycle on 55.
So, on I-55?
Yes. I had to look twice. I was like, my God. Yeah.
It reminds me of some of these places like in Bangladesh where they'll have a golf cart and they carry about 15 stories loads on them.
Yep, that's what it looked like.
Are we getting to that?
Well, we were today.
And there's no police there, so nobody's going to stop them for the most part.
Oh no.
And if they did, that is a terrible place to pull over as far as the police is concerned. So, anyway, well, I thought you were going to say you saw a squatting car, but we took care of that.
We have, and there has been a lot of positive feedback on that from a lot of people. Still hearing about it.
HB, I think it was 349, and I'm not sure how many people it affected, but that was one of the highlights of the past legislative session. Are you guys meeting? Anybody meeting as far as any meetings that pertain to 2025 yet?
Well, I actually have a meeting when I leave here. The speaker set up quite a few different committees to meet on various topics, but one of the ones that I'm really looking forward to going is we have one that's going to be I'm dubbed it the Save Jackson Committee, and we're going to be meeting today at like 9:30. And going over various topics. I've had a couple bills in the past to, of course, I've been from South Jackson and, working there now, it's real dear to my heart and I want it to do well. So I've got a couple bills I may bring back up that I had in the past that pertain to the city of Jackson.
Are the city council going to be there or the mayor's going to be there?
I would say no, but they are more than welcome. I would like it if they did come.
Well, do they know about the meeting?
Do they know it will be live streamed? And we pushed it out. We promoted it. So hey, hopefully they do. I'd more than welcome them to come.
The Jackson legislative delegation there, all of them, been invited. Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's open. It's open.
I'm thinking about there was a story as far as the zoo's concerned, and I know this is for Jackson, but it was at one time the state zoo, and if it followed where the opportunities were, then it probably would have been one of the biggest in the Mid-South. But it's not, and as a matter of fact, it's dying. How much longer do you think the zoo's going to last before they have to close it?
I know a couple of years ago it was discussed to move it to LaFleur's Park, which I don't know why that didn't happen. I don't know. I know I was invited to a deal about 3 or 4 weeks ago. They're trying to do a few things, but it's just inevitable. I mean, it's hard to get your car there now. Just the roads are so bad, and of course it's dangerous, and I just don't see it lasting much longer.
Just physically too, it's not a good part of town.
No.
Period. And I don't care what you say, and you've got to take everything away from it. The consumer is not going to go where they don't feel safe.
No,
it's just not, and certainly with their children.
No. I have a daughter, and we went probably 6-7 years ago, but I wouldn't go back.
Jackson Zoo 2023, the attendance was only 18,000, and that was for the entire year.
Wow.
2024, January through mid-July, only 8,354 people.
Wow.
On a daily basis, you got more animals than you got people there.
That's
revenue.
Sad.
The revenue through July, $40,023. It cost to run a zoo. You better be doing everything you possibly can. And it's not the fact that you couldn't do this. Look at what Hattiesburg and our SuperTalk hometown in Hattiesburg has done.
Oh yeah,
They put a freaking water park in the middle of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a destination. All of my friends taking their kids there. I mean, every week one of my friends is making the trip down there.
One of the stories here was, meanwhile, animals in the Centrio facility continue to die off. Since our March, I think it was an LBT story. 2023 investigation into the zoo. An additional 13 animals have passed away, including an 11-year-old beaver. Excuse me, folks. I grew up in the small town on a farm. I ain't gonna pay nobody to go see a beaver. 16-year-old fishing cat and a 12-year-old cougar during the station's visit there, the park. Friday morning, multiple exhibits were empty and overgrown, including several near the entrance. And that's probably the nicest thing in the entire article, but it's sad.
It really is.
It didn't have to be that way, and politics played a part of it.
100%. Absolutely. It got petty.
And then they wonder why you worry about things like the city controlling the airport. So I don't know where we go from there. Politics is killing us.
Yeah.
House Speaker Jason White has announced a summit on the Mississippi tax reforms, and are you a part of that one in the Rules Committee? Or
well, I'm not on the committee, but I will be attending. I think that's on the 24th at the Sheraton, and I'll absolutely be going.
What do you think we want? What do we want to come away with this? When some directives of exactly how we're going to do this take the next step on grocery taxes or what?
Absolutely. We'll be talking about several different ways to cut taxes. We've done that in the past, and we're going to continue to do that. Obviously, the grocery tax is really hot right now as far as getting rid of it, and I've heard the lieutenant governor very recently speaking about it, and we're definitely working on it, and just trying to. Of course, the cities make they make a lot of their budget off of the grocery tax, so we've included them. I went to a little municipal meeting about that Monday, so we'll be taking all that into consideration. Really looking forward to it.
Just have it on record here. Is there an equation that placates the municipalities that before everybody goes forward on this?
Yeah, when we started talking about it with Philip Gunn, one of the things that we had discussed to set up a fund that would make the cities whole if they lost out on the tax. And I'm assuming that's going to be coming back up to discuss. But we had a fund set up for that to cover that loss.
From the general fund?
I cannot remember where it came from, but there would have been a fund set up to cover that.
Okay, from the 7%, what do the municipalities get? Do you remember it was 3.5% or something like that?
Yeah, I think it is 3.
So, are we talking about maybe cutting the sales tax down to 3.5%? Was that one of the things that we're talking about, or cutting the grocery taxes 100%?
Well, actually both. I mean, there's been discussions on cutting it all the way, and then there's probably more discussions on at least trying to cut it down or cut it in half.
Yeah. Let's go back to Rules Committee, because it was an interesting interview yesterday with the Commissioner of Insurance when he basically said on the program he'd like to see the Insurance Commission dissolved and not be elective anymore. It's his recommendation because of several things. We'll talk about that coming back. He'd like to see it be appointive And I know you guys dealt in the last legislative session with several repealers like the PSC. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
With Fred Shanks, when we return, Ricky Matthews. Oh, he's been a bad boy. He was banned from Facebook. We'll tell you why, or pulled down, I should say. We'll talk about that coming up at 8:05. And speaking of Mississippi, guys, it is Fred Shanks, Mississippi House of Representatives, District 60, Rankin County Chair of House Rules Committee. Your thoughts on what Mike Cheney said as far as at the end of this term, maybe moving the insurance commissioner into an appointive?
Well, I just heard about it yesterday, and I found it interesting. And kind of after reading Cheney's points, I would tend to agree with him. If you, as you know, and most of the listeners know, running a campaign is extremely expensive, and it's hard to raise money, particularly for that job. So, his point is, do I take money from insurance companies to raise money to run an election? And he just doesn't think that's a kosher thing to do. And I tend to agree with him. So, and I believe I've done just a little looking into it, and I think we're one of just a few states that even has an elected insurance commissioner.
States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's something.
But Fred, can't you say the same thing about the Public Service Commissioner, where you just extended the repealer in the last session?
Correct.
Because we have some, some rough news coming out of that one in the last election.
Yeah. That one kind of falls in the same category. It's a difficult position to raise money, and where you get the funds to run your campaign, or it's really close to the people that are the people that need you in there, and
But if you're looking for purity one way or the other, you're not going to find it in an alternative method, because if the governor, Republican or Democrat, appoints somebody, they're going to have a sway there. The only thing you correct is the amount of campaign contributions they may come to the governor.
Well, that's correct. I think it would limit, though, any of that going on if it was an appointment.
Yeah.
But you bring up a good point.
And I know we have this bill, and Senator Daniel Sparks was the guy that led this thing in, that we're getting a lot of changes. If this bill goes through, I understand it's not going to start till the next round of elections, but where you can, it's almost changing the governor to a cabinet form of governor. Mm-hmm. Is it not? Where the governor has a chance to reappoint the heads of boards and agencies every 4 years?
Yeah, it certainly would. You're hitting the reset button right there.
Mm-hmm. You see any problem with that? For instance, let's just say, God forbid, that Burl Cain decides to retire. And who's going to take that job if you're looking for a nationwide search for someone with that kind of expertise in corrections, and you can't find them in Mississippi? Who's going to move from Montana to Mississippi knowing that at the end of 4 years they may be gone? I understand they could be fired, but
sure,
here the chances of them not retaining that job has not only their incompetency, but even if they're competent, mm-hmm. has the politics to worry about that, moving their family again.
That you're right. That's a big gamble, and you got to be one heck of a salesman to get somebody down here anyway. Yep. So, and especially coming into a situation where they're going to have to start in the basement on rebuilding whatever agency it is. So
never understood that one, but we'll talk about it a little bit later on. Yeah. And we've had some energetic conversations with Senator Sparks on that one. He's always good to go toe-to-toe on that subject. The other thing, too, is no matter what you guys come up with in the summertime here, a lot's going to depend on what happens November the 5th, because we come out on November 6th, it's going to be President-elect Harris and Vice President-elect Walz. We got some praying to do as far as the next 4 years on the economy. You're a businessman.
Yeah.
What do some of these things that they put forth mean to you as far as business?
The only way forward is to get Donald Trump elected. I do think that the polling is just made up, fictitious by the media, and I truly believe Trump's going to pull it out. Harris is just going to be a continuation, obviously, of the Biden policies, which are terrible, and I think the American people have just had enough.
I look at some of the news stories and story after story, and one of the other ones is just horrendous because there's a film out there now of some very bad guys coming storming into some of these apartment complexes. Aurora, Colorado it has multiple apartments taken over. These Venezuelan gangs, and they are bad dudes, and people are scared. And I cannot believe, to save my soul, that some of these people are going to go to the polls and said, look, I'm worse off, I'm scared as hell, we're threatened, our city's gone to pot, but you know what, Kamala is a woman I'm going to vote for. I just can't. And if that's the case, where are we?
Yeah, bingo. I don't see any, even your more liberal voters, I don't see them saying, like, this is okay, this is how we live.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, now, would we put up with that in Mississippi? No. But, you know, these blue states, you know, dealing with that, I can't see any just regular person thinking, you know what, I want more of this, you know.
Well, if they do, they need therapy.
Since she came into office with President Biden, overall inflation is up 19.4%, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Yeah.
More than 8.1 million migrants have illegally crossed the U.S. border, according to CBP. And there's been a 9.6% increase in total violent crime across 66 major cities, according to the Coalition of Law, Order, and Safety.
Well, apparently they think that's all positives and not negatives.
It's really kind of comical to sit back and listen to what they say, you know, and watch the media fall in line. I mean, you see that they get these talking points and they just, you know, talk about it like, hey, this is okay.
Have we ever seen before on Monday somebody's the devil and on Tuesday they're being promoted as the angel? We've never seen this before. Stuart Varney had this because this Oregon situation in Oregon and also in Colorado is crazy. Oregon also.
A taxpayer-funded group is offering $30,000 to new home buyers. You cannot apply if you're an American citizen. What's with that?
It's wild. The group is called Hacienda Community Development Corporation. They offer payment assistance in Oregon to DACA recipients, asylees, green card holders, basically any non-U.S. citizen. This is state-sponsored discrimination, Stuart. That's what it is. That's their goal. Part of me wants to say crazy things happen in Oregon, but I think this will go far beyond Oregon. There is a critical shortage of houses across the United States, particularly in Oregon, and then they're giving $30K to non-taxpayers.
Which will raise the price of houses.
For everybody else.
Plus, California now talking about $100,000 to $150,000 if you're illegal.
And that's what I don't understand. California, they had 500,000 people leave. You know, at some point they cannot continue to, you know, to grow. It's just wild to even listen to that.
Well,
stuff.
and the other part of that is thank God for our Republicans in this state, because where you get down to where the rubber hits the road and also where the buck stop, and that's the voters putting these people in office at the city council level. They're the ones who are doing this. Gavin Newsom's not doing it on his own.
Correct.
You got city council in these different cities doing it.
Yeah, correct. We've got Mike Hurst as our new GOP chairman, and our new executive director, Rance Bilbo, are doing a phenomenal job. I've been talking to them pretty much every day, and I mean they're staying up 2-3 in the morning, getting things running. You know, really, really pushing things, and they're working on some of these, you know, municipal races because those could flip.
It is a little bit scary when you start looking at this. I saw a story yesterday. Warren Buffett sold 981 million shares of Bank of America. 981 million shares. He now holds $278 billion in cash. He's got to have one hell of a mattress to put that under. $278 billion in cash, and he's selling stocks like never before, including Apple shares. So I'm not sure if he's getting ready for a crash, but when Buffett does something like that, it scares people.
That sure causes pause right there. You know, of course, he sees things that we don't. So, yeah, real interesting move.
It is. So what do you think is going to be the top concerns as far as this legislative session?
Well, one of the things we're going to do for the fourth time, we're going to bring back got the green light the other day from the speaker, but we're going to, you know, start working on the ballot initiative again. And, I know there's a few polls out there. I don't know the results just yet, but it's been a big talking point of me and Chairman Wallace, and we've discussed it quite a bit, so we're going to be doing that.
Who's knocking on your door more than anybody saying we got to get this done because we want to put ours on? Is it abortion, marijuana? What is it?
Really, the hot topic is abortion. We excluded that this past year, and we heard multiple other states, I think Ohio and Kentucky, and they had tens and tens of millions of dollars to fight that issue. So we're obviously very concerned about that.
And we have a good abortion, some common sense one that says rape or incest. Well, I think it says rape, and also mother's life is excluded from that.
Correct.
Some states don't have that. I think that's where the real arguing point is in some of these states, where they say, regardless of what, you can't have an abortion, period, even if the mother's life is in danger or if it's rape or incest. So we'll see. Final segment with Fred Shanks coming up next.
I am voting for Donald J. Trump because I am a woman.
Gallo is on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Because I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no trouble. Because I'm all about that bass,
looking forward to the Brett Young concert tomorrow night at Ole Miss. You cannot miss that. Fred Shanks, Mississippi House Representatives District 60, Rankin County, your final thoughts, sir.
Well, first, I just want to let your listeners know we got an update from my buddy Clark that the guy riding his bicycle on I-55 the wrong way with the air conditioner, he's still on I-55.
You said a window unit.
Yeah,
You're actually talking about
I thought
you meant a window frame.
No, he had a window unit attached to his handlebars. That's how hot it is outside, too, by the way, but the guy is still going the wrong way on I-55.
Can you imagine where we would suggest he plug that in?
I don't know what kind of contraption he had, but he had it on there.
See if he had a radio with him, too. So
probably.
Jeez. Yeah. And he was going the wrong way.
Oh, yeah, that just helped.
I'm sure somebody's called the police, but they got other things to do.
Hopefully it was Capitol Police.
Is that area on the Capitol Police area?
They were where he was, yeah.
All right. Final thoughts, sir. Some of the things that we were talking about that's going to be addressed maybe in the 2025 session. Other things.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'll be working on the ballot initiative.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to continue working on the suffrage bills that we had, and I've got a couple bills that should help the city of Jackson. I'm going to push those again. And like you mentioned, with the upcoming tax reform summit that Speaker White's put out, we're going to be, that's probably going to be the biggest policy, we make.
Will you have any meetings with your cohorts over in the Senate as far as trying to come together with a number of people who sign up before the actual start of the session?
On the ballot initiative?
On the ballot initiative, yeah. That's the sticking point for the most part.
Yes. And we moved back and forth a little bit this past time. I think they were around 200,000 mark on the signatures, and I think we bumped up to, started at, I think, 150, and we went up to like 180. We're certainly willing to work on that.
Yeah.
Got no problem with that.
Why would you choose a lower number to make it easier for that? Because in today's time, with all this money they can pour into an initiative, people's minds are so pliable, it not necessarily would be a good thing. For instance, let's just say recreational marijuana. Mm-hmm. I had a report yesterday that we're now, for the first time, especially since it's kind of seasoned in and we have more people camping out in homeless camps and drugs and walking dead in some of our major cities that are beginning to just decay like third world countries. And we know that some of the start of this was with marijuana. And now, for the first time, over 50% of the people polled says it may have not been a good idea.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. When we were discussing the program that we said, the medical marijuana program,
mm-hmm.
We looked into a lot of research and cities like Denver, Colorado, and things. The mayors were saying, we really wish we didn't do it, because what would happen is people would come in on the weekend, they would spend all their money. So where do they go to eat and sleep? They go to the hospital, and they're just running up those bills, and they just ditch on the bill. And of course,
let me get back to my question in limited time here then for you. Why would the House of Representatives want a lower number to make it easier to get that on the ballot?
Well, you have to take into consideration just your voter who would want to come up with a in-state initiative of whatever they want to do. For just a regular person, it's hard to get 50,000 certified signatures, much less 100. So we actually went up from where it was, and we went up considerably to 150, and then we went up more to 180. So, we did push it up.
So you think 200,000 is unreasonable?
Oh yeah, 200,000. Your average, grassroots type organization, they cannot do that.
I think those are the two things. It's going to be recreational marijuana, and the other thing is going to be the abortion, as we mentioned. The other outside on that would be Medicaid expansion, but if you put those clauses in there that you can't do the financing part of it, in other words, anything that handles our finances, you've eliminated a lot of things.
Correct. We had that in as a safeguard, and the big change is it does not, any initiative would not go into the Constitution. It would just be a statute.
Right.
And as we found out, and I talked to several after we did it 2 years ago, I talked to several medical marijuana groups, and they were like, we're actually glad it did not go into the Constitution, because that would have been a mess.
Yeah. Fred, it's always good having you, sir. Appreciate it very much. Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
And thanks for your request on the radio. We played it for you. So.
I appreciate that.
Hey, Lance, maybe we ought to do that from every guest, find out what their request is.
Just give me a little time, and I'll pull it out.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it very much.
Sir.
Ricky Matthews coming up after news from Fox News and SuperTalk News next.